My name is Callie. As kids, we all want to have experiences and the skills we need to fulfill our dreams. The problem today is that we don't always see our potential, our ability to make a difference in the world, or have the leadership skills we need to solve problems. Team Kids operates the Team Kids Challenge in elementary schools in partnership with the public safety, education, businesses, and community leaders to role model leadership skills and work with us on service, our 21st century skills, and they help us realize that we can make a difference in the world. The Team Kids Challenge is a 5-week program that aims to empower us as the generation of leaders, philanthropists, and entrepreneurs. The program is generously supported by a network of business, foundation, school, and individual sponsors. I'm one of 120,000 kids that the program has reached in over 12 cities from California all the way to Arlington, Virginia. Before the program begins, we go to a kickoff assembly where we learn and participate in teamwork activities. At the assembly, the entire school is challenged to reach 3 goals to support our local community. This can range from canned food drive to help the homeless to towels and blankets for the local animal shelter. Then we are invited to be on the leadership team with police, fire, and Team Kids mentors to address real-world issues. Over the course of the next 5 weeks, we meet once a week during our lunch recess with our Team Kids coach to plan a school-wide carnival benefiting a charity of our choice. We get into groups of 2 to 4 to plan our carnival booths where we oversee the marketing and operations of our small business. We advertise our carnival by making posters and making announcements around the school. After the 5 weeks of planning, our hard work comes to life. We set up our booths and students, community members, and public safety come and play our carnival games. Our kid-run carnival allows us to think outside the box and be creative. We're able to show the world that we aren't too young or too little to make a difference. After the carnival, we meet one last time to celebrate the success of our carnival. At this last meeting, we get to learn how much money we raised and present a check to the charity that we chose. You can be a part of the magic by sponsoring a Team Kids Challenge school, volunteering to help us plan the carnival, or lend us your expertise to help strengthen our operations. Some people might say the Team Kids Challenge is a business development program for kids. Others might say Team Kids teaches us character and leadership skills. The truth is, Team Kids teaches us all these things. And research shows that if we are involved in Team Kids, we are less likely to participate in behaviors that can keep us from achieving our goals. We are more connected to our school, we become powerful leaders, and we know we really can change the world. For more information, please contact Team Kids founder and CEO, Julie Hudash. Get on the bus. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. About 6 years ago, I was a graduate student at UC Irvine, finishing up my PhD in developmental psychology and quant methods. Julie called me and asked me if I would meet with her. I was literally packing up to move to ASU to become a professor, and I didn't really want to. I drove all the way down. I was living in LA. I met with this white lady and was like, great, another program that brings police and kids together. This is gonna be great. It worked really well with the DARE program. I'm sure this is gonna be a really great meeting. I met with Julie. She talked about this program, a program where kids were identifying issues that they saw in their community. They would talk about, for instance, abandoned puppies and kitties. I care about the puppies, I don't really care about cats, but cared about them, right, in these animal shelters being cold at night, and kids would collect blankets for them. They care about hunger in their community. But as a developmental psychologist, I know, and as many of you probably know, kids are astutely aware of many of the different types of issues that are plaguing our communities. These kids are trying to make a difference when it comes to suicide prevention, mental health, homelessness. This is a program that enables children this space, this support, to plant the seeds of flowers that they will never look at. In positive youth development, in the empowerment literature, this is what we care about. We care about giving kids the space to plant the seeds of trees under which the shade they'll never actually sit. Giving back to your community in the long term. So I met with this Julie lady. I heard about her program, and I thought it was really interesting. And she said, will you do evaluations on us? And I said, Julie, only under a couple of circumstances. I need to be completely independent of you. There's got to be a firewall here. We need an MOU that allows me to use the data how I see fit. You can see it before I go to publication, but you can't change it. Julie allowed me to look under the hood of her car 6 years ago. 6 years later, despite my deviously handsome looks, I'm much older now, going up for tenure, we have had quite the time of doing evaluations on the Team Kids program. You can see on all of these slides, there'll be a QR code. You can just email me, I'll send you the articles. But if you want to see the published articles, they're all up there. Spent 6 years evaluating the effects of the program in different communities around the country. The first thing that we really wanted to focus on with the evaluation was understanding the impacts on the kids' views of themselves, on their sense of community, these developmental assets, these positive youth development principles. The results shocked me. We rarely find programs that are actually this short having positive impacts on how kids view themselves, how they view their community, how much they feel like they are giving back and actually making a difference. But there's something else that happens in developmental psychology that we all know about. Programs have different effects on different kids. There was a lot of noise, of variability in the data. Julie, it was a bold choice to choose me, right, to speak at this point, mid-morning, when people probably need more coffee. But there was a lot of noise in the data. I wanted to know, for whom might this actually be more effective? Why is there so much variability here? And so I started to think about, in the positive development literature, we know that kids need to feel as though they can actually make a difference, that their voice is being heard, that they are a part of the solution. You can't just pull somebody into a program and the program's gonna work. You have to actually feel valued. You have to feel like you're driving that bus, to steal Julie's language. When I started digging into the data, what I started to see was on the left side, when kids did not feel as though they were being pulled into this, that they were driving the bus, sorry, Julie, there's no effect to the program. That's the ones and twos. The program is only effective for the kids who feel like they are helping drive the bus, when they feel valued, when they feel heard, when they feel like they are team kids. This is one of the things that we bring to the first responders, when you do your trainings and you're pulling in new folks into the Team Kids program. We talk about this because kids, you don't just create a platform and a space for kids to make a difference. That's not enough. They have to actually feel valued, heard, that they are leading the way. And the kids really can lead the way. The good news is, for the vast majority of kids who are joining the leadership team and who are participating in the program, they're the ones that are the 3s and the 4s. The ones in the 2s are really our outliers. The Team Kids program is really interesting to me because it's a program that brings together law enforcement and kids within a non-enforcement context. When you are the law enforcement officer going into Team Kids, you're not talking about drugs. You're not talking about law enforcement. You're not talking about documentation status. You are there to help the kids make a difference in their community in ways that the kids find meaningful. But the reality is, it's a program that's bringing together kids and police within the current era. I don't want to break any news here, but police-community relations are at historic lows. And they have been since about 2015, 2016. Our society is relatively polarized, a little bit divided. And so one of the concerns I had is, if you're bringing these kids and these police together, what is the impact on the kids? What is the impact on this community? If kids and their families are choosing to have these kids participate in the program, we need to know if it's impacting kids' relationships with law enforcement. In the scientific literature, again, Julie, bold choice, putting me up here, people talk about caring about perceptions of police because of this procedural justice idea. And it boils down to a very simple series of steps. When you treat people fairly and justly, you improve their perceptions of you. They view you as a legitimate authority. And when they view you as a legitimate authority, they feel more obligated to obey your directives, they cooperate with you more, they engage in less crime. This is why scholars say we should care about how police and communities are interacting. I think that's okay. But to me, we deserve to have a police force, a law enforcement force. If we are choosing to arm them, we're choosing to tell them to protect and serve our communities, we deserve to have a legitimate force itself. It should be a human right. So what is the effect of a program like this on kids' relationships with law enforcement? Well, the first thing I want to know is, can you actually change kids' perceptions of police, and how bad are they to start? When we started doing this research, the first thing that we did is start to look at what age do kids' perceptions of police change? I want you to think for just like a quick second about this. At what age do you believe that kids' perceptions of police are changing? From Paw Patrol to something else. What we found in a study of about 1,000 kids through the Team Kids program is that kids' perceptions of law enforcement are actually generally improving from ages 7 to 8 and from 8 to 9. And then from 9 to 10, 10 to 11, the data spoke for themselves. It's right around 4th grade that we see that kids' perceptions of law enforcement are declining pretty rapidly. And when I break this down by racial ethnic group, the effects are even starker for kids of color, particularly Black youth. So what we did is we did what we call a randomized control trial. This is, long story short, gold standard of research. We're not here for a stats lesson, so I'm not going to do it. But basically, we randomly assigned schools that are matched to get the program versus not get the program. And by not get the program, what I mean is they were put on the wait list and then they got the program a couple months later. And then what we do is we survey the kids in both schools at the same time. So that way we have something to compare the effect of the program to. What we found in this randomized control trial is that in both schools where we did the treatment, it improved kids' perceptions of law enforcement. This is a randomized control trial. You rarely get this the first time that you do a randomized control trial. In the schools where we didn't do the program, there were slight declines, not really statistically significant. We don't have to go into that. But in the schools where we did the program, there were small improvements in kids' perceptions of law enforcement. This is a program that brings together law enforcement and kids. And as my wife likes to tell me, relationships are a two-way street. So we also wanted to know, what are the effects on law enforcement officers who participate in this program? How do you find out what law enforcement officers think? Like, what are they thinking? What are they experiencing? We did something really complicated. We asked them. In a study with my former postdoc, we surveyed law enforcement officers 100% anonymously and asked them about their experience with the Team Kids program. The reason we had them be completely anonymous is because the law enforcement officers in this room, teachers in this room, know there are a ton of programs out there where then you do an evaluation and you're not anonymous and you feel like you gotta say nice things. So we interviewed officers from across the country in these different programs, linking nothing about them to their actual answers. This publication is available. Just as Julie allowed me to look under the hood of the Team Kids program, we have to, as researchers, allow other researchers to look under the hood of our research. So you can actually get access to this peer-reviewed article up there. But I want to bring you through a couple of the quotes from the law enforcement officers that are quoted in this study. One officer from somewhere in the country who did this program said afterwards, "I think for all officers, they get as much out of it as the young people do. They get to watch young people, often from challenged backgrounds, be able to take advantage of an opportunity to help others. They get to see children be creatively engaged in a way where they accomplish goals, build self-confidence, and grow as a person." Another officer said, "The Team Kids Challenge created a space for both of us to be working together and not in an enforcement fashion, but rather a team environment where there wasn't the expectation that we were going to do any type of enforcement." I think that's usually what law enforcement is looked at, as being the ones that are going to tell you what not to do, where here was more like encouragement. From another officer, "The Team Kids Challenge does help to change and remind you that even though everybody says young people are terrible and misbehave and all these, hear all these things that this generation is more disrespectful and everyone, there's so many good kids, and the vast majority of them, just given an outlet like this, can come up with some awesome stuff." What I love about evaluating this program is looking at the effects on the kids and the effects on the officers. This is a program that challenges officers to step outside of their comfort zone, to get to know the community that you are supposed to be protecting and serving. Other quotes that we have in this article are about how much this program enables for the officers the breaking down of the walls between us and them. To me, I would love to see a world where every law enforcement officer goes through the Team Kids program as a part of their onboarding. Your entire recruitment staff, right? That should be a part of your training. Imagine a world where every single recruit is getting this experience, to get to know the kids, the families, the communities that you are supposed to be protecting, that you are supposed to be serving. It's a fundamentally different type of role for law enforcement, and I think it's not going to solve everything. This isn't going to solve all of the world's problems, but it is a clear solution. It is a clear step that we can take, and I'm proud to be part of the evaluation research to show what the actual effects are on the kids, on the communities, and the law enforcement. Thank you for having me.